Hi everyone, this is Exo with Sweets by 8 and Ariaga Flow Imports. With me I have Virginia Stapleton. She is running for State District 11. And do you want to tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, we'd love to. Thanks so much for having me on. I've really enjoyed getting to know you over the past few days and weeks and months, and really excited to be talking to folks that are connected with you. I am a lifelong Oregon resident, and my parents came up to Kaiser from LA back in the 60s, and they proceeded to have 12 kids.
Wow.
Yes. And I'm number 8. And then when I was 5, they moved over to West Salem, and we've just lived in Salem and the Kaiser area my whole life. And really love the area and love the community that I live in. When I was 21, I married my high school sweetheart.
Aww.
I know. We've been together forever. I think we met when we were 14.
Wow.
And so I think it's been really long time, 30 years together with him.
That's nice.
And we bought our first home in Northeast Salem in Senate District 11. And so we have been here for a really long time. And we've had 2 kids there. They go through the public school system, and that's where I really started getting involved in politics.
Okay.
Served on the Salem Kaiser School Board's Budget Committee, and then also grew up in that area and started talking about things like transportation, things like sidewalks and crosswalks, and got connected with the local Salem City Council and the mayor, and that was my introduction into local politics. Yeah.
And you held the president as the council, right?
Yeah, so I ran and was elected, and I served 2 years as Ward 1's counselor. And then after my second year, I was elected to city council president. Wow. So still representing Ward 1, but basically the second most powerful on the city council, down from the mayor. When you are a council president, you're basically like the right-hand person to the mayor. Yeah. And I had such a great working relationship with Chris Hoy, who was our previous mayor. And so he and I just really did so much good work together. And the rest of the council had great communication. We were really in sync with each other, and our goals were all really united. And so we were able to get a ton of stuff done for our community, and it felt so good. But I realized when I was running for my second term that I actually can't solve the root cause of what is wrong with our local governments without addressing it at the statewide level. And so that's what made me run for House District 21 in 2024. I can't believe we're in 2026 now.
I know, it's been so fast.
I know. And I barely missed. I was running against Kevin Mannix, and he beat me by 1,100 votes. So we were so close, but my team did an amazing job. We knocked more doors than any other campaign in the state. It was just a really good run, and it set me up for success in my next race, which is now for Senate District 11. That incorporates House District 21 and 22. So you'll see that when you look at a map. You kind of get your feet under you and see how the districts are laid out. So really, really excited about our current campaign.
And I love how highly you talk about your team. Right now and in messages, but these people won't see them. But you always speak so highly about your team, and I love that about you. I always see you out in the community, Woodburn, Salem, Kaiser, and I think that's what we need right now.
Yes.
Especially in these times.
Yeah, really important to show up, and there is no single person in politics who is successful on their own. Even if you run a solo race and you get elected only by yourself, which never happens, you still need a community to support you when you're elected, right?
Yeah.
Like no one, that's called a dictatorship, right? And we're kind of trying to dance around that at the federal level right now. It's not working out so well.
We know.
We're not big fans.
No.
And so my team is vital to me and vital to us securing this seat. And right now it's held by a Republican, so we're really hoping to flip it into a blue district. And I'm going to need my team to do that, and I'm going to need my volunteers to help me do that. We have over 125 people signed up to volunteer for the campaign already. I know, I'm like stoked.
I know, you're so happy. And I think there is a bunch of people who want to help you get this seat, especially since we know what you're running on. Mm-hmm. I've seen it, and you can see it on our website.
Yes. Oh my, can we talk about my website?
Do you want to plug your website?
Okay, yeah. So it's electvirginiastapleton.com, and we just got it unveiled completely. We had kind of a landing page for a while, and we've been slowly building it out, but the reason it took us so long is because I really wanted to expand on the Meet Virginia page, because I think that it's critical that we understand somebody's history and somebody's ethics and what drives them, what gives them passion. And in order to do that, you have to know somebody's story, right? Like, we're so shaped by our past. And so that really helps, I think, people understand who they're voting for. And so we really expanded on my history page. And if you haven't gone, you have to, because we've downloaded so many photos of my past, me as a little kid, my parents when they were like first married and like hippies, you know, in the down in LA in the 60s, and all the way through the growing years of our family. And then me meeting Isaac and getting married. And then, of course, my time on city council and my House district race. And of course, that brings us now to present. So go check it out. It's awesome. We also have tons of events listed there that you can RSVP for. I know typically folks who are elected are the ones who hold town halls, but I think it's just so important to be out in the community and meeting people where they're at when they have time. And so we've booked, I don't even know how many. I think we're up to 5 or 6 town halls already. And I want people to come. I want people to come meet me. I want to meet them. I want to hear their stories. I want to know what they're struggling with. You might see a postcard in the mail inviting you to a town hall, and on there is a QR code. And if you can't come to one of the town halls, or you don't want to, like you don't do the face-to-face thing, I get it. There's a QR code. I still want to hear from you. So please click on that and leave me what is really driving you right now with politics. You know, what are your issues? What do you want from your electeds? How do you want them to show up for you? So it's really important for me to hear from folks. So there's so much more, but please go check it out. Yeah, I love it. I love the website.
And during the town halls, will they be live streamed for people who don't want to go in person?
I think that's a great idea. Completely, with technology these days, that's completely something we can do. So yeah, it would be great.
So I have 5 questions for you so we can know you better and what you're running on. The first 2 questions are going to be about small businesses and taxes. Are you familiar with CAT?
Yes, I am. I got to learn all about this. This was something I was familiar with, but then when you and I chatted, you know, you really expressed your concerns with this particular item. And that's what I love about talking to voters, is because they say, yeah, all of this is great. We agree on all these different points. This is the thing that's bothering me right now. And then I can really dive in and learn more about the impacts that these laws have on people and their livelihoods. And I think that's something that politicians don't do enough. You know, as a city councilor, I used to talk about, we can pass things all day long, but if you don't circle back and make sure that that law or that, you know, that program is having the intended impact, then you're doing half the job, right? Because you have to circle back. There's always unintended consequences. And that was something that you and I talked about with the CAT tax, right? And so as I learned more about it, we have that minimum of $1 million in order for it to kick on. And we talked about how the cost of living right now is just insane. I was talking with some of my team members and my husband and our family, and just talking about how, like, as a teenager, if we would have gotten a glimpse at what we're making now, right, we would have been like, dang, girl, like, you're doing it. But now the reality is that we're sitting here going, I still don't have 3 months of a savings account. I still don't know if I can go on vacation with my kids, or I don't know if I could send them to camp, right? Because the cost of living is out of control. And so when we look at those minimums, I think it's time that we revisit that and say, do we need to increase that? Is that $1.5 million? Is that $2 million? What does that look like? And how is it negatively impacting folks? And if we make that change, does that relieve the pressure on the types of businesses that we want to see grow and develop in our community? I don't talk to anybody who says, I would like some more box stores. That's not what they want. They want folks like this, right? Where we come here. Local folks who they know are in their community, who are part of their community, and they want to support them. And I think that's fantastic, and I think we need to do everything we can to support folks like that. So if colleagues of mine, hopefully at the state legislature, are interested in increasing that, I think it's something really worthwhile doing. And also looking at, do we need to have it tiered? Right? What's a way that we can carve out industries that we want to help support and to really see them thrive in our communities?
Talking about tiers, jumping into the first question. So the Oregon CAT tax applies to small businesses as the same as large corporations. Do you think that's outdated and should be tiered?
100%, right? A really good example of this is, from my personal experience, was when I was serving on Salem City Council. We have an operations fee. And for businesses, it's about $35 a month. And it was the same for a small business downtown as it was for Amazon. That's not okay.
It's not okay.
That is not okay. It's not fair. And the burden is really put on our small businesses, and we need to change that. So I think that we need to look at that across the board, whether that's locally or at the state level.
Do you think, thank you for answering that.
Yeah.
The second question is, do you think the Oregon tax cap favors larger corporations than minority small businesses?
Yeah, 100%, right? I mean, when you're looking at that dynamic, folks, and they have the money and the lobbyists to go in and do all the sweet talking at the Capitol. And folks like you who are out here working hard, trying to run your small business, you don't have that same power, that same, privilege to pay somebody else to walk into the Capitol and really make your voice heard. So I think it's going to take folks who are electeds, who are willing to stand up to big businesses, who are willing to stay engaged and be out here talking to folks like you, visiting small businesses and asking the tough questions, taking the tough questions, and then having an answer. Yeah.
Just to follow up on that, if elected, would you go up to the Capitol and advocate for small businesses and changing the cat tax?
Yeah, it sounds like I would have a partner in that as well.
Yes, of course. I'm always here to help you. And you were a business woman at one point, right?
Yes, I was.
Did you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. When I was growing up, it was my number one goal was to own a business. That's what I wanted. I struggled a lot as a kid. I had an undiagnosed learning disability and really suffered from a lot of abuse growing up. And so as a teenager, I really honed in on having a goal, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to own my own house. I wanted to have that house be beautiful and lived in. I wanted art on the walls, right? All of the things. And I wanted to own my own business. I just always knew that. I ended up being a high school dropout. A lot of folks don't know that about me, but I talk about it on my website. You should go check it out.
Check out the website.
So, I really was left with this driving force that was I am unique. I don't want to just be, a cog in the wheel. I want to be somebody who creates something. And so I got the chance to do that. It was back during the recession. I had a 1-year-old child and I was pregnant with my second. The recession was full on. And my husband and I and my 2 brothers decided to open a landscaping business. But nobody could have told me at the time, don't do this, right? Because I was passionate about what I'm always passionate about what I'm doing, right? My team knows that about me. I don't do things if they're not fun. I want to be fully engaged. And so we went ahead with it and we did it for 4 years. In that time, I had my second kid. I nursed my second kiddo, for over a year. And so during this time, it was just really, really taxing. I worked full-time, my husband worked full-time, and then my 2 brothers ran the business. But in the end, we decided to sell it, and we sold it to another local landscaper. And it was such a unique experience. As you and I were talking the other day, I was telling you, I don't know if I can compare what I went through with my business with what folks are going through today.
Nowadays,
right? Yeah. Things have changed so dramatically. Living through the pandemic, let alone the political era that we're in right now, it is really an intense time to be here, to be human, but also to be trying to run your own business. What I want people to take from this is that I am not pretending to know what you're going through right now. I want to learn, I want to know more. But I do know about your passion. And I do know about your drive to be a business owner and to be that part of the community. I get that. I was there once. I really feel like I'm getting to relive that a little bit with the campaigns because they're very much so are a small business, right? We have a marketing plan and we have budgets and we have, fundraising and all of the different things. And so I think that's why I really am thriving in the last couple of years as I've run these big campaigns. It was really great. And I have nothing but a lot of respect for people who own their own businesses, for sure.
Yeah, and thank you. And I think we need someone who knows experience in the field, who has been that for 4 years, as you said. During your time as Salem Council President, you put on a vote for wage tax, and it was up for a vote, and it voted no a lot, overwhelmingly. What do you think voters didn't see that wage tax would have accomplished?
Thank you so much for this question. I know, I get hit on this a lot, and I was expecting that. You don't do anything in politics with your head in the sand. And the payroll tax was a really challenging time for the city of Salem and a really challenging time for us to be able to communicate, which is something I think folks on the left have a really hard time doing. Yeah. The payroll tax was a way in which I thought that we could move our community forward to the future that I heard constantly from our voters that they wanted. It really supported our $300 million infrastructure bond that we had passed the year before, which supported branch libraries and 2 new branch firehouses and all new equipment for them. I mean, there were so many things. The first time ever that we have voted to support our parks, I saw a future there that I think a lot of Salemites were excited about. But when it came down to it, there was 2 parts to this conversation. There was the bond, which everybody's very familiar with and very comfortable with, and that supported the infrastructure. So with a bond, you can only buy things, you can't pay wages, right?
Yeah.
And so in that conversation, we talked a lot about it's a both and. We would love to do this, we would love to build this for our community, but we need to increase our revenue in order to support the humans that will be working these jobs, that will be maintaining these parks, that will be, staffing these libraries and these firehouses. So in that really long and complicated conversation, the message got lost. And I think that folks in the end were really shocked to learn that the response time on our EMS, our emergency services, was skyrocketing, and they maybe weren't going to be able to get an ambulance in less than 5 minutes, which is the goal, less than 5 minutes. Folks didn't understand that we have 90 some odd parcels of land, I think it's 91, that are considered parks in the city of Salem. A lot of them are not developed yet. And it's not because we don't have the money to develop them, it's that we don't have the money or the staff to maintain them. And so they stay fields, right? And everybody in these communities is like, why isn't my park a park, And so they weren't able to draw that line to connect the dots between those 2 things. So I think that folks were really hit hard with recognizing that we needed to reduce hours at our library. And that was the catalyst for the next revenue push. And that one was successful. And it was able to save the library and keep it open, and also to help with our parks. But that alleviates pressure on the general fund, but it doesn't take away the problem.
Yeah.
Right? It's still becoming more and more increasingly hard to pay for the services that people are demanding. And once we figure that out as a community, then we will be able to get to the root cause and be able to create a future where everyone in the city of Salem is able to thrive. The services that they expect are able to be there for them.
Perfect.
And as I walk away from that whole situation, when I talk to folks in the community, it is, we need to have honest, open community conversations about what we want our government to do and how we want to pay for it. It's a very simple question, but we need to have them, and we're not having it right now.
Which is why you're having
yes,
town hall.
yes.
So it works out perfect. And to piggyback off of that question, opposition outlets say you voted no to a vote for affordable housing.
Mm-hmm.
What did you have to say about that?
Yeah, so this was an affordable housing unit that was actually using funds from the $300 million infrastructure bond that we passed. We included, I think it was $10 million for affordable housing. And so it was either this project or another project, right? And we got to choose. And this project came before us first. It was way out on the outskirts of town. It was a mile from any grocery store. Wow. The bus does not go by there. And there's not a lot of infrastructure to support this development. And I thought that was not the best use of our money. I thought that we could use that money to invest in affordable housing units that were closer to home, that were next to the essentials that people need and next to a transit line. Because here's the deal. When you have housing, cost of housing is skyrocketing through the roof. It's unacceptable. We have to bring it down. The second highest expense for folks is transportation. And if you are building an affordable housing unit way out where they don't have access to sidewalks, to bike lanes, to transit, then they are unable to have a creative and wide array of choices for their transportation. You're really driving down the cost of their housing, but you're increasing the cost of their transportation. And so when you look at it dollars to dollars, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for folks who are really struggling across the board, right? And I think that's maybe something that gets lost in the conversation with politics, is that folks are like, the cost of housing has to come down, And I'm saying the cost of everything has to come down.
Yeah.
Right? You can't just cherry pick one thing. All of it needs to be addressed. And when you're taking the voters' dollars and using it to invest, I want them to get the most for their money. I want them to help as many people as possible. And that isn't what happened with that vote when we invested in housing that was not fully supportive of a whole person's life. I stand by that vote. And I hope that when people hear me talk about it, they understand a little bit more nuance. It's not black and white. There's a lot of different layers. And with politics, people have to kind of dig in and understand all of the issues that are impacting something. Again, come to a town hall, hear me talk about housing,
yeah.
right? Like, it's really interesting to me. While my time on city council, I helped the city council. I voted for over 4,000 units of affordable housing.
Wow.
We increased our shelter beds by 1,000. Okay.
Wow.
We went through all of our codes, and we made it so you could build more housing in more places. We took off restrictions and cut red tape for developers so that they could build housing cheaper and faster. And all of that gets thrown out the window when I take one vote, right? It's so, that's politics, and that's frustrating. But I want people to look at my record, and their accusation doesn't stand up to my record. My record is 4,000 units, 1,000 shelter beds, right? Like, all of these different things that we did to help people get into housing and to drive down the cost of housing for everybody. That's my record. That's what I'll do at the state Senate. And I think that people can really rely on that and count on me to do that work.
Amazing. So yeah, just a follow-up question. What would you have to say to someone who wants to argue if they go to a town hall and say, this is what you did, and they don't really understand? Would you talk with them?
Oh, yeah.
If an opponent asked you, why would you vote no for affordable housing? Can't you see how expensive things are? What would be your response to them?
I think that it would be a mashup of everything I just talked to you about, right? People are smart. People, when they have a moment to think and to look at all of the evidence displayed, will make a good decision. Right now, in our culture where everything is going a million miles an hour, and we're just reading titles of articles, and we're liking, and we're angry facing, and we're just so fast to take in information and to give our opinion, that's the result, right? You get these kind of whiplash, these kind of really, really intense emotions, because politics is about emotions, right? But when you present all of the facts, just me and you sitting down and talking, a very normal face-to-face conversation, and you let them ask questions and you explain yourself, then I think any person who, has these thoughts will be able to come to me and ask, and then they'll learn who I am as a person.
So your response would be, check my record.
Yes. And let's talk.
Let's talk.
Yeah, let's talk.
Perfect. Moving on from your time as Salem Council President. As you know, we're in some rough times, especially in Portland, Salem, Woodburn, with the ICE raids and kidnappings. If elected, how can you assure people can go to work, school, just normal grocery shopping? How can you assure people that they're safe and they don't have to be scared?
This is a super important question. And, we're recording this now when we have a protest going on down at the Capitol that I'm sure you and I both will be heading to afterwards. Because the first thing that I want to say is it's so important for everyone, whether you're running for office or not, you have to show up. You have to show up, and you have to be loud, and you have to make your voice heard. And you can do that peacefully. And I am fully supportive of that. I don't know how many protests I've been to in the last year or so, but it seems like, it's Saturday morning, and that's what we're doing. We're showing up for people, and we're showing up for communities, and we're using our privilege and our power to show up the way that I am. I don't move around the world in fear, right? And that is something that I need to recognize and accept, and then say, what is the power that I have that I can use to help other people in my community who don't feel the same way that I do, right? I think it's really, really important to talk to folks in the community who are suffering and understand what they're going through. I think a lot of people can just say, like, yeah, that is really scary, or I don't like that, but I'm going to stay out of this, right? One of the folks I work with, they are a Latina, and her parents are undocumented, and they haven't left their house in months. And she and I sit together and we cry together. And she talks about how much stress she's under now, right? Because the fear, living in fear, is a stressful thing. And it adds so much burden to people's lives. And so as somebody who's running for office, it's my job to dig in, learn, and understand what people are feeling. Politics is about emotions. It's about feelings, right? And so understand that and really learn to embody what they're going through. I think so many people, they don't want to feel those big emotions. They just want to turn on Netflix, or they want to scroll or whatever, and they want to avoid it. Like, yeah, or, you know, some people can be so callous and cruel. And I know this because I used to do this as a young person too. As I survived my trauma as a child, I would say very calloused things. But it was because I wasn't able to be honest with myself and sit in the pain. And so when an entire community is hurting the way that our Latinx, Black and Brown folks are hurting in our community, we have to be able to sit with the pain and understand, and then know what is yours to do. And I understand that showing up, going to places, speaking out is part of what I do. But also, as an elected, I have to know what's coming down the pike as far as legislation and get behind it, advocate for it, support those who are pushing those things forward. Right now, I think we're looking at a package of 10 different laws that they're wanting to pass. And I need to, even as just somebody who has access to other electeds, right? That is a privilege. I need to use that. And I need to get on the phone and say, like, Leslie, I support what you're doing, and how can I support you better, right? Leslie Munoz she is amazing.
She's amazing.
She's amazing, and she's doing the work, and I count her as a friend. And I know that when we get to work together, we're going to do a lot of really awesome things that are going to scare a lot of other people.
Yeah, I bet.
Right?
A lot of people.
Because us two women together, we are a force. And I trust her. And I am so excited to get behind her and stand with her on these issues. I think that's really important for people in positions of power. How can we support other people who are actually writing the documents, advocating for the work, taking the vote, trying to get others to vote for it? That's really hard work, and they need our support.
Yeah.
And so doing what I can as somebody who is a candidate for office during this short session to really rally behind the things that our communities of color are pushing for, and find ways to support them.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And a follow-up question. If elected, what can the Latino community expect from you in your term?
Yeah.
Can we expect you to go out and fight for us, not only out in the streets or maybe in the Capitol?
Yep.
But what else can we expect from you during your term if elected?
Yeah. I think it's really important for folks to know that I am a relationship person. I'm driven by relationship. I'm really communicative. I love to talk to people and get to know them. And I will not stop being out in the community and talking to folks. I will not become somebody who hides behind their staff, or hides behind their email inbox, or their voicemail that's full amazingly, right? I am somebody who will continue to be available and reachable, and somebody who is always going to remain curious about what the community is going through, and understanding and learning how I can be a better advocate for folks. And yes, I am a fighter. I am a fighter for the underdog. That's what I was my whole life. And I really identify with people who are struggling, and people who our culture says are not enough. That gets me pretty riled up.
Yeah.
And I am fierce. That is one of my driving things. I think folks who don't know me, my biggest hurt in life is the people who weren't there to protect me and fight for me. And that translates into, you could draw a straight line from that to everything that I'm passionate about now. And that won't change overnight. That's something that's embedded in who I am as a person. And so people can count on that for the long haul. They can count on that until the day I die, because that's who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Virginia. It was so nice having you and talking to you. And I love how you're open. The first message I sent you, like, oh yeah, let's do this.
Of course.
So thank you so much. And you should check out her website. She talks a lot about what her priorities are, not the time zone.
Oh, it's not.
But
that's a joke for another time.
That's another time.
Yep.
But her priorities are really good. I've seen Virginia being out during protests, not only in Woodburn, Salem, Kaiser.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate all the work you do. And I think more people should know about what you're doing. So please attend our town halls.
Yes.
So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. And please follow us online, all the different ways in which we're on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I think we just started our YouTube channel too, where we're dumping a lot of our videos so people can get a chance to get to know me. And of course, you can sign up for emails. I will not inundate your inbox, but we will keep you apprised of what's happening with our campaign. yeah, there's just so many different ways to interact with us, and we again just want to make that personal connection. And any way that I can meet you is what I want to do.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And your upcoming town hall is in Woodburn?
It's in Woodburn at the public library. It's next Saturday, the 17th at 10 a.m. and we'll have donuts and coffee. And of course, really great, lively discussion and communication back and forth and getting to know each other. So we'd love to see people.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much, Virginia. It was so nice talking to you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.